Oh, hey there. I have nothing funny to put here. I mean, I never really do. I try to be funny. It's just that this time I've got nothing to put here. So right now we're just kind of killing pre-roll time before the title card rolls in. So how are you guys? Did you have a good 2018 holiday season? Uh, Come fly with me, let's fly away. We'll smoke some grass and eat some ass, and I'll throw you off a bridge. Come die with me, let's die today. Oh, hey, look, there it is! America has David Lynch in television and cinema. Japan has Swery in video games. I've compared them before, and I'll pretty much continue doing it until the day I die. For pretty good reasons, I think. Almost cut from the same cloth entirely, and always able to let the individual moments speak for themselves. That big driving factors of what keeps them so similar. So of course, I was excited to hear that way back in October, my main man put out his latest game with the help of Arc System Works. A puzzle platformer horror story with a motherfucking story to tell. And who among you could possibly have guessed that this channel will be looking at a fucking platformer? Huh? Who the fuck could have possibly seen that coming? You? No, I fucking know you, and you fucking doubted me. Anyway, this baby released way back in October of 18, and well, I kind of had a bunch of shit that I was working on at the time, so I didn't get to look at it then, and instead of it being the first game that we look at for the channel for the new year, it is, however, the first game I play for the channel for the new year. So strap your fake dicks on and strap your asses in as we take a look at the pseudo coming-of-age story from Swery with The Missing, JJ Macfield and the Island of Memories, and holy fuck, that's a mouthful, stop focusing on me and roll the fucking game's intro.
You call and tell me that what I hear is true and I am not a dreaming. Show me the way that I can find all the answers I'm seeking. Steady, the fire burns my skin, but I cannot feel it red.
Check it out, children! It's our old friend, the Unity engine, once again kind of going to show that it's truly a powerful engine, just that too many people use it for asset flip garbage. The mystery box, J.J. Abrams and the Island from the Island, starts us off with full motion video of all things, and cutting to a cozy little campsite of our protagonist, and what we can pretty easily deduce is some form of significant other. It doesn't take long for things to change for the worse, as this is in fact a video game, and JJ sets off to track down Emily and do whatever it is people normally do after successfully tracking other people down. The game is pretty simplistic. It's a 2D side-scrolling platformer with a much heavier focus on the puzzle aspect and an even heavier focus on the story it tells. Speaking from the puzzle aspect, it never gets overly difficult, and I say that being me, so chances are most people will pick up on it pretty easily. I found that a fair number of puzzles are cleverly designed, some so clever and simplistic that I solved one by accident while trying to solve it another way, and one time I got stuck, I just kind of kept doing what I'd already been doing, you know, mindlessly banging my head against a wall, and it turned out that's kind of what I was supposed to be doing all along. Chances are you're not going to find it to be too difficult of a game by any real means, which makes it pretty easy to recommend to a more casual audience. Having said that, however, I do feel the need to draw attention to one segment late in the game, where a pretty smooth ride suddenly kind of turns into Sen's goddamn House of Horrors for about 5 minutes, and that may seem like a very cheap comparison, especially in today's gaming discussion landscape in the professional side, but honestly, when I came up on that segment, I couldn't help but think of just about anything else. It's about a 4-minute segment that turns into about 10 with skillful play while doing the side collectathon, but if you're garbage like me, it can easily turn into a 35-minute affair. I kid you not, I had some serious issues with this segment for no reason other than I'm kind of panicky, and these controls don't appreciate that. But I seem to have gotten ahead of myself here. Let's take a step back, go out on a limb, and give a hand to the game's main mechanics. Self-mutilation! Yes, indeed! After the game introduces you to basic puzzle solving and platforming mechanics, it introduces you to how you'll be tackling most of the game, and that, my dear lovelies, is through dismembering, maiming, burning, and otherwise hurling poor JJ through just about every obstacle you can. Burying corpses is one thing, but when you have to jump into a swinging wrecking ball and hurl your own severed limbs into machinery, we start to really kick things up a notch. Not all levels of dismemberment are required for each puzzle, as some won't even require you to do any form of self-mutilation to solve them, but when they do, a lot of the creativity starts to shine. Environmental traps to eviscerate poor JJ while simultaneously launching our protagonists through the air so that they can chuck one arm at a switch and etc, 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 you get the idea. JJ the jet plane and the long series of bad decisions finally catching up to us presents us with some pretty inventive ways to not just hurt ourselves, but ways in which that becomes beneficial to us. From time to time, a horrible monstrosity, a loose train car, or otherwise will run poor JJ down, and you have to regenerate your body even as you are mutilated. It's not exactly a difficult series of set pieces, but they are enough to force you to think on your feet. The game's artwork is flat out stunning, semi-minimalistic backgrounds and designs that just pop in ways that not only feel alive, but very homey. From the vast empty fields littered with windmills to the old restaurant with its dead but cozy atmosphere, all the way to the backgrounds mixing the FMV with the art design to create breathtaking scenes. It's no TurboGrafx high polygon count affair, but it just goes to show again how good direction, design, and coherent implementation create far more interesting visuals than anything that pushes the SLI Dual 1080 Ti's requirements does. It's a pretty smooth ride with enough difficulty to be satisfying. It's absolutely beautiful to look at and is inventively designed. Its soundtrack is soft-spoken but poignant enough to punch through when it needs to without ever overshadowing the rest of the game. So how's that story? It's kind of what we've been asking for a long time. You see, the Misty Mountain, J. Jonah Jameson on the island of misfit toys, tackles some issues. Some real-ass issues. It tackles those issues in a way that 1. Never beats you over the head with the point, 2. Gives the player enough soft hints and characterization to figure it out on their own, and 3. Treats the player, the subject matter, and the piece itself with enough respect to never once moralize to you. JJ chases Emily through a surreal dreamscape of donuts and deer-domed doctors, trying to figure out why the erstwhile love interest is fleeing them. As we progress through the game, a stuffed animal holds text conversations with our player character, trying to encourage them through it all. Some events and collectathon milestones give us access to text conversations JJ has with classmates and friends. It gives us looks into their lives, their personalities, and helps us get hints as to what's going on in the story as we uncover it all. And I'm trying to avoid too many spoilers of any kind here, while text conversations with the stuffed animal draw out a little too hard, especially when retrying a chapter to get those collectibles you just missed, it's told in a manner that is coherent, disturbing, and gripping in ways that caused a tiny stirring even in my frigid, cavernous chest cavity. Swery jam-packs the game not just with heartfelt moments, but with scenes dripping with so much raw emotion that you kind of need a mop and bucket to take it all in. Chasing Emily and gleaming from her phone calls, mind you, which use the Dreamspeak effect from Twin Peaks, what she intends to do, to following her up the clock tower as she hurls questions at us that cut to our very foundations, all while knowing the worst is coming just to reach the top and see the fruits of our grim labors, to every insane moment filled with feelings I don't even know the name of, to the final act which is just one revelation and spike in tension after another, all to the end when we finally fully understand what is happening. It's hinted at. It's talked about. It's all but served to the player on a silver platter, and it's left for them to pick up on and conclude just before the end when we can nod our heads, knowing that this is what was coming all along, and all we can do now is hope for the best. Yeah, I had a bit of a moment when those credits began to roll, and I'm pretty sure this is one of the best told stories in a game that I've seen in a very long time. It's impactful, it's bitter, it's sweet, it's painful, and best of all, it's poignant. Accept who you are and face it without fear. Anything else will just lead you to hurt yourself and those you love, and it's a message that is wrapped up in an unassuming little box just waiting for you to open it and never once making demands of the player. Its price point may be a little high for how much time you get out of it, and well, sweary game voice acting may be difficult for a lot of people to get over. But for me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you out there, with the story told, the solid gameplay, and the little world-building details like the whole donut vendor being so popular they have all this cell phone shit going on, the missing, JJ Macfield and the Island of Dreams is definitely worth it. Beautiful, emotional, engaging, honest, and respectful to the player. You can't even get half of those in a AAA title for double the price these days. I'm the Necroswanson, and you can go fuck yourselves.